Truth to Power. This is going to be a short video. Thank you for those of you who are subscribing and joining Season AY. Don't forget to subscribe to Season AY on YouTube. Hit notification button and of course give us a thumbs up. Help us grow the platform. We really appreciate your support. What we are really trying to do from here on is to really speak truth to power. Good evening, of course. You're watching Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I wanted to just really say one or two things before I go. I'm not going to take too long on the broadcast, but hopefully it's really important. Sadly, one of the things I want to say on the broadcast, sorry about this. Sorry about that. One of the things I want to say on the broadcast is this, and that is this. That the death of Mohbad is going to be something that you will see that will happen more and more. There'll be more people that will die from Mohbad, just like Mohbad died. There are going to be more artists that will die, just like Mohbad died. We've done the night vigil, we've done the cries, we've gone the appeals. People are calling their mom different names and dads, and accusations is going left, right, and center about the family. Their exposes. Some people are cashing in on the name of that young man. Rightly or wrongly, who's to say? Nobody can really say. What we need to really understand in all of this is this. You see, because of the fact that we are not aware that we are sovereigns, collectively, whether you're a singer, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're whatever it is you are first a sovereign. Our sovereignty is the biggest thing that has been hidden from us. Our sovereignty, our collective sovereignty. And until we begin to use that, for as long as we're in that sphere, that place called Nigeria, oh, sorry about this. For as long as we're in that place called Nigeria, our sovereignty, yeah? Oh, I don't know what's going on today with this thing. It's just been difficult. As long as our sovereignty is under, question. As long as our sovereignty has got one or two questions around it, I'm sorry to say that it is going to continue. It is what? It is sadly going to continue. I'm trying to do something here. Hopefully it works. I'm just trying to change something here. Okay. So hopefully I will do it. So as long as our sovereignty is not exercised, there'll be more, sadly, there's going to be more deaths like Mohbad's. May his soul rest in peace. May his soul rest in peace. But I'm sorry to say, in literally months, weeks, days, years, there's going to be more Mohbad who will die. Because why? When you do not exercise your sovereignty, injustice reigns. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, oppression reigns. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, corruption reigns. When you do not exercise sovereignty, you don't get light. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, you don't get roads. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, you don't get schools. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, you don't get road, water, light, school, bridges, healthcare, safety, security. When you do not exercise your sovereignty, you do not get accountability. These are things that we must address. We must address this in our community. So once again, rest in peace, Mohbad. May his soul rest in peace. What happened to him is truly, totally unacceptable. I'm not going to stay too long, but I really want us to really understand what I'm saying here. And I hope we can key in on it collectively. Like I said, if I do, I may have to rush off in a bit of a rush because I just took a moment or so to talk about this. That our lack of knowledge of our rights as to encourage us so that there will be less instances where deaths like Mohbad occur. He is a talented young man. His talent was on the rise. It was on the course of really blowing. on growing, is on the cusp of really growing and really going and doing great things. But unfortunately, those who were envious of his talent decided, oh, I am powerful enough and I can take someone's life and nothing will happen. And that's exactly what they did. They said, I am powerful enough, I can take someone's life and nothing will happen. Well, that can only happen. Sorry about this. 1 second. I'm just trying to check something. That can only happen in a situation where you have. 1 minute, please. I'm going to just check it out in a minute. So hopefully that's just. So that can only happen in a situation where the people know, some people know that many are not aware of their constitutional rights. The system supports those who are oppressing the many. The system that we have in Nigeria now, it supports the few in oppressing the many. The system of governance that we have now, let us be very clear, until the people know that they are sovereigns, they are being oppressed. Millions of us were unaware that we have the powers of sovereignty, which I'm going to read to you. Section 14.2a states, and I'm quoting from the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution, a quote, and I quote, it states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. You need to know that. I know it off head, and I'm encouraging many of us to study that. Because when we start speaking from 3 years old, from 4 years old, if you can learn about the Quran, if you can be taught about the Quran and the Bible, if you can be taught about the Quran and the Bible at 3 and 4 years old, you can also be taught about the Nigerian Constitution. You are not too young to learn about your sovereignty, that you are sovereign. Again, I'm quoting from the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. These are things that we must teach in our community. In Yoruba, for example, ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tí ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ń gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. Now, I've translated that from English to Yoruba. We need that kind of information. Now, if Mohbad and many others like him had had access to what I just read now, they would have been able to ensure that within their community, the things they need, roads, water, light, schools, bridges, healthcare, safety, security, so on and so forth, would be in place, because they would use those powers to hold their government to account. Now, how do they do that? They do that by going into section 14.2c, which states, and I quote, section 14.2c states, the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Let me read that to you again. Section 42C. The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. These are things we need to know. We now, how many more Mohbad do we have to wait for before we all begin to realize that it is our job within our community now to begin to spread the knowledge that I'm sharing with you for free now. I am sharing a knowledge with you for free. You don't need to pay me for this knowledge. All you have to do is to help me share this to reach as many people as possible. You don't have to pay me anything for this knowledge. Just subscribe to Citizen AY, hit notification button, give us thumbs up. Let this message reach as many people as possible so we can prevent deaths like Mohbad from happening. Mohbad believed, and many in his place believe, that if I'm a singer, if I'm a singer, as a singer, songwriter, and everything else, I can make it. And they see this contract, they sign it, and they are, oh, I'm great, I'm a big guy. But they don't realize there's more to it than that. Those who they sign to, they want to exploit them. The music business in Nigeria and in many other places is an exploitation business. Just like our governance is an exploitation business. And the government is using the music industry, the movie industry, and all of the other industries to control the minds of the people. So when they sign people, oh, this guy's been signed. Oh, and then there's some, you will always find some connection between the stars and the government. So you can see now in Mohbad's situation, what happened was this guy was obviously talented. And there are similarities between what happened with Biggie Smalls and Sean Combs, or Puff Daddy. There are similarities. Sean Combs died when he was 25. Not died. Biggie Smalls died when he was 25. Until today, from what we are hearing, his songs has made a lot of money for Sean Combs. What we're hearing now is the person who is involved, who signed Mohbad, did not like the fact that he was leaving his label. And curiously, when Biggie Smalls was going to leave, he was planning to leave Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, when he died. Mohbad was trying to leave. He left. In fact, he left, and he was trying to move on with his life. And he met his untimely death at the hands of somebody who we can't confirm. The police can neither confirm nor deny. Now, the point I'm making about knowing that we are sovereigns is it is very important that we know that we have certain powers in our governance that we can use to hold those we elect to office to account. And in knowing those powers, it makes us know how we can take control of our lives from within our community collectively. Sadly, Mohbad was trying and asking and calling for help. In his songs, he was talking about, they're after me, they're trying to kill me. He even mentioned the names of people who he believes should be questioned if he meets his untimely death. There are words, there are videos, there are pictures. He said all of this. Sadly, many of us did not take cognizance or listen or reach out to help him at that point. Now that he's dead, everyone is crying out and calling for justice for Mohbad, including myself. I want to say how sorry I am that I did not see this or connect the brevity, the seriousness of what he was saying. I did see one or two videos, but I just thought they're singers, oh, they'll sort it. We all thought. Unbeknownst to us, there was much more sinister goings on behind the scenes, which led to his death. That's why I say that our lack of knowledge of our sovereignty, sadly, if we do not start dealing with that, it will cause yet more untimely deaths like Mohbad. May his soul rest in peace. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to make a prophecy. I'm not making a prophecy, but I'm saying that as a community, as a society, as people together, particularly those of us abroad, we have a role to play right now. You watching me, and those of you who will watch it later on, I want you to share this broadcast to our communities. And I want you to impress upon them the need for us to know about our sovereignty, the rights and the powers we possess as citizens. Those two powers, I'm going to say it again. I know it off head. I know it in Yoruba. I know it in English. I know it in Pidgin. I've even translated it to Igbo. I've translated it to Hausa, to help us begin to share this in our community. There are powers that we need to begin to use seriously. What are those powers? Section 14.2a. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. I will put the screenshot of that on at some point, maybe in the broadcast or afterwards. But I'm going to be talking about this on every broadcast. So once you know that you're a sovereign, your mindset changes. Because sadly, what the religion of Islam and Christianity does to you is to make you believe that you are a slave, that you are worthless. But you as a sovereign means that you are worthy, you are of value, you are of importance. Collectively, we are sovereigns, but we are not taught that in schools. And what is worse is that on top of not teaching us that we are sovereigns, we are also being told, we are given religions of Islam and Christianity in our language. You can find the Quran in Yoruba language. You can find the Quran in Igbo language. You can find the Quran in Hausa language. You can find the Quran in the Bible in Yoruba language, in Igbo language, in Hausa language. That is what we are facing. But when it comes to the sovereignty, the fact that you are sovereign, it is written in English. Now, 200 million Nigerians, out of 200 million Nigerians, I don't think even up to 10 million can read English fluently. English is not our first language. So why are we putting the laws of our nation in a language that a majority of the people do not understand? Why? The case for translating our constitution into our local languages right now is of immense importance. I'm asking that question to all government. Why is it that our constitution is in a language that majority of the citizens of Nigeria do not understand? Why? That's the problem. We have the constitution in English. There are at least 60 million people speaking Yoruba, 60 million speaking Igbo, 60 million and some speaking Hausa and other languages. I'm just giving them a rough estimate. That's 180 million. There's plus other languages who are another 30 to 40 million languages. We have 350 different languages in Nigeria, from what I hear. So why is it that the government is putting the constitution in only the language of the colonizer? And those of us, majority of us who are in the villages, who are in the towns, don't speak fluent English, don't understand the laws that we are told to follow. It is not in our mother tongue. It must be translated to our mother tongue to be able to reduce the incidents of killings like what happened to Mohbad. May his soul rest in peace. We need to ensure that the constitution is translated in its entirety in our local languages. I've started doing something like that, and I would like you all to help me as much as you can. The best way you can help Citizen AY, because I've been talking about this now for years. I've been talking about the Nigerian constitution needing to be in Yoruba language since 2018. I first started talking about the constitution when I was aware in 2018 that the constitution, we had rights. Then I realized that it needed to be in a language. I've been talking about it since then to translate it into a language, but nothing has been done of yet. I am putting it upon myself and those in Oduduwa TV radio movement, Oduduwa TV radio and the ODTV movement, that we can come up with a translation of the constitution into Yoruba language and to Igbo language and so on and so forth, and make it available to all our people. Because if you do not know your rights, you can't fight for it. If you don't know that you are sovereign, you can't fight for it. If you are just being made to believe that you are a sinner, you are a slave to Allah and everything else, not knowing that in your country you are sovereign and you have powers that you can use to hold your government to account, such as I have stated, which I stated, and I repeat, what I stated was this: Section 14.2a, go and read it, in the 1999 Constitution states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. We need to share that in all our communities. Not in English, but in our local languages, in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, in Chekiri, in Inshan, in all our languages. Because that is how we are going to empower people. And the lack of knowledge of that, many people mistakenly believe that if I become a Christian, I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. I'm covered by Allah and I'm protected. No fun thing, nothing will happen to you. Wrong. The most important information that we need right now is to know that we are sovereigns. To put an end to injustice, we need to start teaching our children about the fact that we are sovereigns and we have powers we can use to hold our government, from the local government to the federal government to the president himself, to hold them to account. What are those powers? Let me read them to you again. Section 14.2a states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. 14.2a. 14.2c, the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. These are things that we need to share in our local languages. Let me translate it to you in Yoruba. The two I've just read. 14.2a in Yoruba. ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tíjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. That's 14.2a. I've translated into Yoruba. We need our market women, our farmers, vulcanizers, booker owners, stall holders. Everybody should know this law from the age of 4. We need to know this in our language. Let me read to you again in Yoruba one more time. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tíjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. That means that sovereignty belongs to you and I, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. So we need that to be something that we must teach on a daily basis. This information is more powerful than your Bible and your Quran combined. This information is more powerful than your Bible and the Quran combined. And when you start using this information, you will reduce the instance of deaths like Mohbad. Because our lack of knowledge is what is killing many of our citizens. We are being oppressed and suppressed by those who are knowing fully well we don't have the power. We are not using the powers to hold them to account, to oppress us. We need to reverse that. So 14.2c states, the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So that's 14.2c. In Yoruba, ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Now, I do a program in Yoruba where I will be talking about this solely in Yoruba, but for the purposes of trying to make a particular point here, is that if you are in a nation, particularly in a nation like ours, when majority of the people do not speak the English language, when maybe not even up to 10% speak English language, it makes sense to translate that constitution as a matter of urgency into our local languages so our people can be part of the process. They will know the powers they possess, how they hold their government to account. As it stands now, they are busy going. They first tell them, oh, if you read the Bible, if you read the Quran, you'll be saved. You'll be saved. The government will do what they need to do. It is a lie. You are being lied to. We are trying to wake you up. We're trying to awake you. We're trying to change your mindset. We're trying to wake you up, to make you see that you possess powers, that you can stop the kind of deaths like Mohbad and many other singers and many other artists and so many other people that have died needlessly because of lack of knowledge of the powers we possess as citizens. We're trying very, very hard to reach as many people as possible with this message. And I'm trying to really make sure that you, as a citizen, you can begin to participate in this process. How can you help this process for Citizen AY? The best way you can help is to share broadcasts such as I'm doing right now. The broadcast I'm doing right now, I'm doing it as a quick one, and I'm going to come back. I'll be talking about this, and you will see the headline anyway, and it relates to the death of Mohbad was caused simply by many of us not being able to exercise our rights as sovereigns, and we need to reverse that. The first thing that we must continue, I've been doing it, and I'm going to be going on a massive drive. I'm going to be talking to as many people as possible. They may not agree with me, but I'm of the firm opinion that when over 200 million people are speaking different languages, of which there are 30 to, in many cases, millions, 60, 70, 80 million people, 60 million Yoruba, 60 million Igbos, 60 million Hausas, and you are having the constitution in English. To have the constitution in English is an impediment on them participating in their governance. Is an impediment in them participating in the governance. I am arguing that case vehemently, and I'm stating that case. And I would like to hold a program and discussions with scholars and people who are in the know to actually talk about how we can actually engage the process. Because I think one of the things I'm realizing, the government may not be perfect in terms of what we go on in the elections, but I think we can at least say there might be some element of listening to what we're saying now, from the point of view of trying to improve things. I know they're trying to do palliatives and everything else, but frankly, palliatives is not the solution. What we need are refineries working. So we have to engage in that process. You and I have to, reluctantly. We may not want to. I believe in one Yoruba nation. I believe in Yoruba nation 100%. But are we there? Just now, we're not. So what we need to do is to engage with this government the best way we can. One of the things that I think we need to do is to encourage this government to empower its own people. If they believe in the people, They should translate the constitution into Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. They should translate it to the language of the people. And then that should be the first thing that everybody learns before the Bible or the Quran. Because the Bible and the Quran is keeping you divided. Oh, I'm Islamic. Oh, I'm Christian. I'm not. The one thing, if you want to talk about one Nigeria, the one thing that unites us is that constitution. And if you are in Nigeria, you must know it. If you don't know it, you can't participate in your government. You can't hold them to account. You cannot do anything without knowing the powers you possess. So I am here arguing for vehemently that the government of the day must institute as a matter of urgency the need. They must print out the constitution for the citizens of Nigeria in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, in other languages, in the 350 languages that we possess in Nigeria. They must have it in those languages. Because in not knowing our rights, our people are being oppressed. And our job, if the government doesn't do it, I, Citizen AY, and many others who wish to join me, let us join hands and make sure that we begin to take the responsibility collectively to ensure that our communities know the powers they possess within the Constitution. Let me state again, once again. Within the Constitution, Section 14.2a and 14.2c. I got a bit of time, but I might go off at any minute. But if I go off, I will come back. We need to stop deaths like Mohbad. It's one thing, yes, we've done night vigil, we've cried out for justice, we've done that. But besides crying for justice and remembering Mohbad, and may his soul rest in peace, and donations for him, great. How do we prevent more Mohbads happening? How do we prevent more deaths like Mohbad happening? The best way, I believe, family, is by getting the people, encouraging the people to participate in our governance, using the powers that they possess. If you don't know you possess powers, you can't use it. So our drive right now on Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to the power, is to encourage our people within each community to please share this broadcast. Please encourage the people to know the powers they possess under Section 14.2a and 14.2c of the 1999 Constitution that states, and I quote, 14.2a, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. 14.2a. 14.2c, the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. You will not find what I'm quoting for you inside any Bible. You will not find it in the Quran. You will not find it in the Ilefa. You will not find it in any of those places. The only place you will find it is inside the Constitution. And it is important, if we are going to begin to get a benefit from as citizens, we begin to participate in our governance using the powers of sovereignty that we possess. So my drive here is to be able to reduce and stop deaths like Mohbad, the Mohbad death now that is being killed needlessly, is for us to engage and be actively participating in sharing and spreading the knowledge about the powers we possess as sovereigns. All of us collectively in each of the 774 local government areas, we are sovereigns. And we have the right, you as watching me, you have the right to demand in your local government area, to demand that you want the Constitution in your language. You have that power, but you need to begin to use it. Because we need to teach this to we have to change our mindset. Our mindset has been corrupted by the Bible and the Quran. I'm telling you now, I don't hold back on that 1 second. I am certain about what I'm saying. I've experienced it. I have been brainwashed. The Bible was used to brainwash me. The Bible was used to brainwash me. And I'm here to tell you that many of us, not just me, millions of us have gone through that brainwashing. I'm over 50. Over 50. And I am now learning for the first time about the rights as sovereigns. I'm now learning about it over the past few years. I'm now beginning to understand that we're sovereigns. We've not exercised that power. I'm here to encourage many of us to stop deaths like Mohbad happening. Because if Mohbad and others knew those rights, they will be more able to stand up and hold those they would be more willing to read and understand contracts that they sign. Because many of them believe, oh, God is doing this, God is doing that, God is in control. Nobody's in control of anything. That is all a lie. It's a scam. It's a scam. There is no God according to the Bible that they're giving you or the Quran, that is in control. The people that are in control in Nigeria are the government, and they're using the Bible and the Quran as scams to keep you closed so you never hold them to account. God will do it. God will do it. It's all a lie. May the soul of Mohbad rest in peace. But to stop deaths like that happening, to reduce the instance of death like Mohbad, we must begin to share this knowledge. Again, I'm going to read it to you, Section 14.2a. And it states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. You need to be able to know that. I want you to know it off it. We need to change your mindset. You see, we've all been brainwashed. What we're trying to do, the process of what we're doing now is to awaken your mind. How do we do that? We give you the powers that you were never aware of. We give it to you. We put it in your hands for free. I'm not charging you a penny for this. I need you to know it because I need you to take collective action to free yourselves. I alone cannot free 200 million people. But if we begin to share knowledge among ourselves in our communities and awaken our minds to take our minds out of those churches and those mosques and focus on the Constitution and begin to use the powers in the Constitution, we can change our community. It's a collective effort. That is what I'm trying to say. So, I need you, if you're watching this, please subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up, help us reach more people. It is really important. The death of Mohbad mustn't be in vain. Yes, we've done the night vigil. Yes, we've cried. Yes, we've danced. Yes, we've done all that. But there's more things we need to do. You need to become actively participating in this process. We need to, and the only way you can participate is by knowing your powers, the powers you possess. We need to be, I'll be going on a drive shortly, whereby we're going to be encouraging each of the local government areas to go to your local government and demand that they translate the Constitution of Nigeria into your local languages. That is what we must do. We need that process to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Once again, we say, may the soul of Mohbad rest in peace. But to make sure, sadly, I'm saying this categorically, there's going to be more Mohbad deaths. There will be more. There's another few months, you'll hear another death again, and people will come out, and they'll be famous, and the people will cry. But to stop it, to put a stop to deaths like this happening, we need to begin to hold those in government to account. Because the people that killed, took the life of Mohbad, guess what? They have people who are backing them in government. The people that took the life of Mohbad, they are so confident of what they did that they took his life, and they are not afraid because they know those in government are going to back them. And the people in government know that nothing will happen because the people don't know that they possess the rights as sovereigns and how to use those powers. We are here to try and help you to begin to use those powers. I hope this makes sense. We are trying to awaken our mind, to change our mindset, to make sure that we can begin to hold those we elect to office to account. I cannot overemphasize how important this is. Many of us have suffered needlessly, and many of us have been brainwashed. You know, I'm not going to lie. We've been brainwashed with religion. In Nigeria, in fact, the whole of Africa, we've been brainwashed with religion of Islam and Christianity. We've been brainwashed, and we need to free ourselves from that brainwashing. We've been brainwashed collectively. We need to wake up. We need to stand up. We need to begin to hold those we elect to office to account. We have been brainwashed, and our job right now is to stop the brainwashing. How do we stop it? Learning the fact that we are sovereigns. In any book somewhere, you will not hear in any gathering by the government that you are sovereign. They don't want you to know you're a sovereign. They want to hide it from you. You will not hear in any church that you're sovereign. They don't want you to know you're sovereign because they will say, oh, you will stop going to the congregation. They don't, in the Quran, in the mosque, they don't want you to know that you're sovereign. They don't. Because they know that it's bad for their business. But you knowing you're sovereign, you can still practice your religion at home or whatever you want. But you will be able to begin to hold your government to account. And that is what we're trying to do. So we start off with this simple process. Those of you who will be watching this, who are watching this now, please subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We need to go on the drive now. The drive is to encourage our people in our communities. It is not a job for one person. The money that is being used, that's been looted, that money, some of it can be used now to translate your constitution into your local language, so that in your local area, you have the powers that you need to hold those in office to account. It is not currently happening. That is what we're changing. That is what we're driving for. I'll be doing a drive specifically on that. So please, when you get the broadcast, subscribe to Season AY, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. The death of Mohbad, sadly, more will happen because many are not aware that we're sovereigns. It says so in the Constitution. That knowledge must be shared and made sure that as many people begin to take part in our governance. We have been blinded for too long. Good afternoon and good evening, those of you who are joining us. You're watching Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What we're trying to do here is talking about the connection between the death of Mohbad, may so rest in peace, and the fact that many of us are unaware that we are sovereigns. And we are trying to change that by sharing information with you. The kind of information we're sharing with you are information to wake you up. For example, key things. We are trying to do something, make you aware, and make sure that the communities have the constitution in their local languages. So 14.2a, for example, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. In Yoruba, for example, it says, so that means that, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That's the power you possess. Now, how do you use that power? 14.2c states, the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Those are the powers that our people need to know in our language. Now, I'm going to translate it to Yoruba quickly. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. Let me read it to you again one more time. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. And the more our people know these powers within that constitution in their language, they will be able to exercise it without waiting for those of us who are abroad. So we have a collective effort to do here. So let us do this for Mohbad. Let us do this for Mohbad. Let us do this in the name of Mohbad. Let us share this broadcast in the name of Mohbad to wake our people up. We've been put to sleep. This platform, Oduduwa TV Radio, and others, we are here to wake you up. I'm not here to talk about Tito. This one said that is not going to change your life. Whatever anybody does is not going to change your life. But what we do collectively will change our lives. Being aware of our constitutional rights and how to use it, and knowing that it is more powerful than the Bible and the Quran combined, is of immense importance to all of us right now. That is how we can take control in our land. And we must go on that drive. I still stand and remain strongly for Yoruba Nation. But if people are not even aware of their constitutional rights under Nigeria, they can't fight for Yoruba Nation. They don't know what they're fighting for. I stand firmly on that. And I remain very, very committed to Yoruba Nation. But I'm doing it from a point of view of we need to know right now, before we even talk about Yoruba Nation. For me personally, we must know our rights as currently stated in the 1999 Constitution in Nigeria and how to use it. That is why we're doing this drive. We are going to be going on a massive drive, encouraging our people to please do something, which is begin to demand for the Constitution in their local languages within each community. It has to be a collective effort. It can't be by one person. It is by all of us, because we are all suffering because we don't know our rights. The Bible does not contain your rights. The Constitution and the Bible does not contain your rights. The Quran does not contain your rights. It doesn't contain your rights. The Constitution that you need contains your rights, but we've been programmed to ignore it. And we're trying to wake your mind up. So please, when you get the broadcast, share. You're watching Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. I hope this makes sense. Once again, may the soul of Mohbad rest in peace. Let us do this in the name of Mohbad. Let us do this knowing fully well that we will reduce, by taking this action to share our constitution in our local languages and demand for it to be printed in languages, we will reduce the instance of people dying, young people dying at a young age, because they don't have the knowledge they need to be able to hold those in an office to account, and to be able to ensure that they defend themselves or protect themselves, and they can live safely in our own economy without exploitation. Because our lack of knowledge has caused so many uncountable deaths. And many people have not reached their potential because they were not aware that they are sovereigns. So we need to change that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. I'll come back and give further updates. Watch out for this big video. Please do share if it resonates to you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you and bye for now. Please do share and leave comments, please. Let's hear your comments on what I've said. Once again, before I go, I'm going to read these two sections to you of the Constitution that I would like you personally to learn. I want you personally to learn it. What are the sections? 14.2a. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. You and I, we possess powers as sovereigns. How do we use it? The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. Please, I want you to learn those key areas and begin to share it within your community. We cannot do any more talking now. Prayers will not do it. I'm sorry. Prayers as a Christian or as a Muslim or anything else will not do it. It is beginning to learn those powers in the Constitution, in our languages, sharing it across our community, ensuring that the government prints the Constitution in our language is how we will get the roads, the water, the light, the schools, the bridges, the healthcare, the safety, the security, and so on and so forth. Please share this podcast. I hope you find it beneficial. Leave comments. You have been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'm back later on. Please share, and share. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Back later on. Bye for now.